Good morning. It is my pleasure to, for those of you, most of you already know her, so she knows no introduction. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank Ms. Taylor for talking with us about financial aid and SAP. So please give her your undivided attention and enjoy this presentation.
Good morning, good afternoon, whichever time you are actually reviewing this recording. We want to say welcome to Talladega College. Again, as Dr. Avorchi stated, my name is Lakeisha Taylor. I'm the Director of Financial Aid here at Talladega College. And our presentation today, we're going to go over a couple of factors concerning the satisfactory academic progress standards, if you will. Some of you may be familiar with this, some may not be familiar with it, but this is something that you do need to make sure that you are aware of, because this is the progress by which the institution, by regulations set by the Department of Education, are required to monitor your progress and ensure that you are matriculating or passing your courses towards graduation. So what you can see here on the screen, again, what is the satisfactory academic progress? According to regulations that have been set by the Department of Education, Talladega College and other universities are required to set standards that will reasonably measure your satisfactory academic progress and ensure that you are progressing towards graduation. This measure is set in place because you as a student, most of you are generally eligible to receive what we call Title IV aid or federal financial aid, and any student that falls underneath that category is required to be monitored throughout that progress. This also ensures or talks about you meeting what's called qualitative, quantitative, or pace progression standards and maximum time frame standards. Each one of these standards kind of looks different or looks at different processes through your academic progression, but we're going to review each one individually here. All right, first, qualitative standards. These measures are based on your grades or your GPA standing. This is your cumulative GPA, not just your GPA of what you have each semester. We have some students that will take a look and, well, hey, I made a 4.0 last semester, yet and still your overall GPA is at a 2.0. So that's what the financial aid office, that's what we're going to review, your overall cumulative GPA. As a standard, the minimum standard, you have to maintain a 2.0 GPA or cumulative GPA in order to maintain your financial aid eligibility. For our incoming freshmen and sophomore students, the Department of Education does have a standard that states that after you've attempted 60 credit hours, you must meet the 2.0 GPA requirement. And that basically is after you've attempted 4 semesters, not necessarily past 4 semesters, but you have attempted 4 semesters or initially 60 credit hours, okay? This standard is Talladega College's standard and also the minimum standard set by the Department of Education. All right, next slide. Okay, the next piece, we're talking about quantitative. When you hear the word quantitative, think of quantity and time, okay? It is time related, and it reviews the pace by which you are completing your courses. So there again, you could have a 4.0 GPA, but you're dropping a lot of courses, or some other method is taking place to where your courses are not showing or calculating appropriately into that 4.0 GPA, okay? This basically is going to measure your cumulative progression towards graduation. So, and that cumulative measure is completing 67% of the courses you attempt. So an example that's listed here, you can attempt 100 credit hours, but could have only passed 60 of those credit hours, and you may have a 4.0 GPA. But per this SAP measurement, you would not be meeting SAP requirements because you've only passed 60% of the courses that you have actually attempted. So when you're scheduling your courses each semester with your academic advisor, you want to make sure that you are taking courses that you know you're able to complete, and definitely, you know, push through the courses as much as you can. We have our Student Success Center that is here as well to support you, so that you don't have to drop your courses if at all possible. If you do, there's another measure that we're going to talk about a little bit later to kind of assist you through the process. But under the qualitative measurement of the SAP process, you have to complete 67% of the courses that you actually attempt. Okay, so next, how is SAP measured? This is the third measurement that we actually review, which is the maximum time frame. How long does it take you to complete your overall degree program? The completion rate, or the standard set by the Department of Education, is the 150% requirement, but this is also based on how long or how many credits are required for the particular course that you are, or degree program for which you are enrolled. The example that's listed here, most of our bachelor degree programs have 120 credit hours. Some may require 130. But whatever that number is, you can only attempt 150% of those courses before your financial aid eligibility would be suspended. So if your course or if your degree requires 120% or 120 credit hours in order for you to graduate, you cannot attempt more than 180 credit hours before you would be considered as not meeting the SAP requirement. This includes if you happen to be a transfer student and you're transferring in credit hours. We are actually reviewing how much or how many hours you have actually attempted towards your graduation, the graduation of your degree program, to measure your satisfactory academic progress throughout your collegiate career or here at Talladega College. All right, so our next point here, what actually affects SAP? So we talked a few moments ago about the withdrawing from courses, but there are a couple of other activities that may take place or you may have to do in order to kind of manage your academic record. But each of these items do affect your satisfactory academic progress, or again, the acronym SAP. And you'll want to make sure that you're mindful of these should you have to complete these. All right, first, incomplete grades. After one academic semester, these grades will be calculated as an F toward the qualitative measurement. That basically means, I know with the COVID outbreak that actually took place and some things changed up in March, that some of you may have some grades that are at an I as of right now. You'll want to make sure that throughout this semester or or at least the following semester that you are working with your instructors in order to get those letter I's resolved. Because afterwards, if that letter I has not been resolved after a certain time frame, it will go to a grade letter of an F, which will affect your GPA. And then also those credit hours will count as an attempt, which is we say the qualitative, but it will also affect the quantitative as well. So you'll want to make sure that you're monitoring your academic transcript to ensure if you have letter I's or I grades that are listed there, that you are working to get those resolved. Next, withdrawals. Various things may occur to where you may, hey, well, I had a family emergency, or again, due to the COVID outbreak, you may have had to withdraw from some courses. But course withdrawals, even after the drop add period, they will affect your quantitative measurement for satisfactory academic progress measurements, okay? So again, withdrawals, keep them at a minimum because they do affect your satisfactory academic progress and your overall eligibility for financial aid. Next, any repeated coursework. Let's again, using the same example due to the COVID outbreak, that you had a bad semester, or you had just bad experiences and your academic record does not reflect what you can actually do or your actual performance. So you continue to repeat specific courses. Now, the attempt of those courses does not get waived. If I'm correct, we have something called academic forgiveness or course forgiveness that could actually take place. In the calculation for the financial aid office, those attempts will still count because those are courses that you're actually repeating. So again, you'll want to make sure that you're minimizing the number of courses that you're actually repeating. For financial aid purposes, again, if you're going to, this is, I'm saying, for instance, you're having to have a third time to repeat a course, then financial aid, unfortunately, whether you're under satisfactory academic progress or not, financial aid will not be able to pay for that third course. So again, keep in mind the number of times that you are taking up a specific course. Again, this is gearing us back to working with your academic advisor when you're creating your schedule to ensure that you are taking courses, only courses that you need. And in addition to courses, if you need to repeat them, that you're only repeating them twice versus going into a third time. Then lastly, transfer credits. If you are a student that has recently transferred to us from another college, then the courses that you transfer in or that are accepted here at Talladega College will count towards the attempted hours and also your completion rate or hours of completion for the financial aid satisfactory academic progress purpose. Okay, so now that we know what satisfactory academic progress is, or SAP, what is SAP, and then we also talk about how we're actually measuring SAP, the next thing is, okay, well, how do I know if I am meeting SAP requirements? Standardly, Talladega College or the Talladega College Office of Financial Aid will review your satisfactory academic progress at the end of each spring term or spring semester. The Department of Education has set standards stating that at a minimum, we have to review your academic progress annually. Now, throughout the process of each year, we will be reviewing our process each semester. The reason that we're going to do this, we have to make sure that if you are failing to meet the satisfactory academic progress requirements, that we are notifying you, or which is our first point here, which is the SAP warning, providing you with a warning to let you know, well, hey, you're getting close to not meeting these requirements. So that way we're giving you time and giving you an opportunity in order to correct your academic standing to maintain your financial aid eligibility. So under the satisfactory academic progress warning or SAP warning process or status, you will basically be notified that you're getting close to failing the satisfactory academic progress requirements. And that can be either one or all of the three measurements that we talked about. It could be qualitatively, quantitatively, or via the maximum time frame for completion. At this stage, if you are under SAP warning or receive a notice from us or a letter stating that you are under SAP warning, this basically means, again, that you're close to failing these standards. However, at this stage, you are still eligible to receive financial aid. So that is our notification to you to give you time, again, to correct your academic standing. You'll want to meet up with the Student Success Center, meet up with a counselor, and follow any methods that you need in order to make sure that you don't fall into this next category, which is a satisfactory academic progress suspension. Once you reach the satisfactory academic progress suspension stage, this means that you have failed. Not going to, but you have actually failed the satisfactory academic progress standards or failed to meet those standards. And as a result of the failure, your financial aid eligibility has been suspended. That means that we will not be able to process any financial aid. That basically means even if you submitted your FAFSA application, submitted all other required documents to our office, that we won't be able to process or help you pay your student financial aid, your institutional balance or bill, because you're not meeting the progress or showing that you are passing your courses and progressing towards graduation. Okay, that basically means, again, that you will have to pay out of pocket for any financial aid that for any balances that you may have with the business office. There is a remedy that's there for that. You do have an option to appeal, which we'll discuss a little bit later in this presentation, but this is what the option that you want to avoid, if at all costs, to avoid satisfactory academic progress suspension or SAP suspension. Now, should you fall into the category of suspension, again, you do have the option to appeal. The appeal can be approved or it can be denied, but if it is approved, then your next stage will be satisfactory academic progress probation. The probation basically means that you did fail to meet the satisfactory academic progress standards. However, you took the necessary steps and provided documentation in order to appeal your status, and your appeal has been approved. And this basically will say that your financial aid will be reinstated, or you'll be eligible or regain eligibility for federal financial aid. You'll want to make sure that if you are under SAP probation, that you'll have to maintain meeting all other satisfactory academic progress requirements. So if, for example, say you're under probation because you failed to meet the quantitative process or the time progression process, meaning that you're under the example we used before, to where you've attempted 100 credit hours, but you've only passed 60 credit hours, which means you're failing below the 67% requirement, but your financial aid financial aid appeal has been approved. So in this case, we've placed you on probation. You will still have to make sure that your GPA is still above the 2.0. We'll still check to make sure that you haven't completed or attempted more than 150% of your financial aid attempts. And then also you'll have to make sure that you're progressing, meaning that you're not dropping courses, and that you're passing all of the courses that you're actually attempting. So again, these standards will show you or tell you how, or will let you know how you are or are not meeting the satisfactory academic progress standards that we discussed a few moments ago. So, repeating again about how can I appeal if I fail to meet satisfactory academic progress. For the Talladega College Office of Financial Aid, we will need documentation or information from you to kind of discuss and talk to us. We want to know what happened as to why you failed to meet the satisfactory academic standards, and what is your plan? How are you actually going to increase your standard as of right now, or increase your academic standing so that you do come to par and meet the progression standards or the satisfactory academic progress standards? What are you doing? So the first thing that we'll want from you, or we'll need from you, is to complete a financial aid satisfactory academic progress appeal form. This form will be sent to you via email on the notification that you receive from our office concerning your financial aid status. And more than likely, it'll be located on the financial aid or SAP suspension status. So on this form, you're going to talk to us again and tell us what happened, provide your information concerning your financial aid suspended status, and you'll want to provide us with any documentation that you may have to support your reason for failing to meet satisfactory academic progress standards. Examples of this can include, let's say you had a family member to recently pass away, or a close family member or an immediate family member to pass away, and it affected you academically, or your ability to continue academically. So you had to drop courses. You'll want to state this in your statement to our office. And then also you'll want to provide maybe a copy of the obituary, let's say if it's your parent, or a death certificate, or some supporting document to kind of back up what you're telling us, okay? You can have a letter from the courts if it's something that is legal that has occurred to you, or any documentation concerning that. Or if some other third party, let's say here on campus, if someone has firsthand knowledge, like one of the administrators has firsthand knowledge as to your situation or what actually occurred, they can provide that documentation to us as well to help support what your appeal status, okay? So after you gather all that documentation and complete your appeal form, you'll want to make sure you get it to the Office of Financial Aid, okay? We have to have it in our office. I think the standard time frame that we have is about 2 weeks after you've been notified, so that we can have time in order to review your appeal and also get back to you and let you know what your status is. Because as I stated a moment ago, your appeal can be either approved or denied. Again, if your appeal is approved, you will need to make sure that you're attending all of the courses that you are registered for, not drop your courses, and not withdraw from any of your courses. And then also make sure that you're maintaining all other satisfactory academic progress standards. If at worst case, that your academic appeal, or your satisfactory academic progress appeal has been denied, then in that case, you will have to pay out of pocket, or maybe research some other resources to kind of help you pay your student bill until you actually come back into par with the satisfactory academic progress standards. So again, we want you to avoid it at all costs, failing to meet the satisfactory academic progress standards, and utilize the resources that are here on campus to support you in order to make sure that you are progressing successfully towards graduation. So we are here to help you. Even though this sounds like, oh gosh, this is a horrible thing, in a sense, concerning your financial aid, yes, it can be, but we're here to help you get through this process, okay? We want you to reach out to the Office of Financial Aid. If you're having issues academically, you're welcome to kind of talk to the Student Success Center. Definitely reach out to your academic advisor in order to kind of discuss different situations or various issues that you're having, because you want to be proactive. You don't want to wait until we notify you that you're not meeting the academic standard or the satisfactory academic progress standard to take action. As of right now, I know we're probably in the middle of the semester as of right now, but again, you'll want to make sure that you're taking all the necessary steps needed in order to ensure that you're continuing to progress successfully towards graduation. We're located in room 11A in Seymour Hall here on the campus of Talladega College. You can also email us at finaid@talladega.edu if you have any questions or concerns. Again, my name is Lakeisha Taylor. I'm the here at Talladega College Office of Financial Aid. And if you can see on your screen, you have our other financial aid advisors and administrative assistants as well that you can reach out to if you have any questions or concerns about your financial aid status. Again, we are here to help you make sure that you're successful. We're so glad that you chose Talladega College, and we hope that you will have a great day.
Ms. Taylor, thank you so much for that important information.
Yes,
just have a question or two that I know you answered it, but I want to make certain that the students heard your answer.
yes, ma'am.
What if I have exceeded the 180 hours? Can I get financial aid?
In essence, the answer to that would be no. There is an appeal that the student can perform, and that will still, of course, fall under the appeal process. And they can say, again, if there was something that actually occurred throughout that time frame that prevented them from completing their courses within the specified 180 hours, then or whatever the 150% time frame is, then in that case, then we will review. And if eligible, then we can go ahead and provide them with aid. But again, that would be something like what we do with some of our other students. We have something called a graduation plan that we utilize to kind of detail and tell us, well, hey, how long is it going to take you in order to graduate? Because under that satisfactory academic progress as well, that we're going to be monitoring to ensure that you're completing within the time frame. So if you're, for example, if a student has another maybe 20 hours per se in order to graduate, and they actually are approved for that appeal, then we could release some additional aid to kind of help them. But in standard, once that measure has been met, then in standard, the answer would be no.
Okay. Now, let's say I transferred some courses and all of my courses did not transfer. I didn't want to transfer them all because it didn't apply to the degree that I'm trying to get. What about those hours? Do they apply towards the 150% or do they not apply?
Well, that's a good question. That actually is very per the Department of Education, their standards. They're saying that the school goes by the hours that they are accepting. So if Talladega College has accepted those credit hours as part of their completion in order towards their degree, then we calculate those hours in. Now, they also give a standard also that the school, like for remedial courses, in which I don't think if I'm correct, we don't transfer remedial courses as well. But if any of those other courses are included in there, they do calculate towards the satisfactory academic progress completion rate as well.
Okay. And you talked about probation. What does probation mean in regards to financial aid probation and academic probation. What does probation mean for financial aid?
Sure, great. And I'm glad you brought that up because I did not mention that during the presentation. The academic probation with Talladega College academically is not the same as the financial aid probation because we have a little different measures or different measurements as to what we're looking for. We're still all making sure or ensuring that students are progressing towards graduation, but the school policy may be a little bit different than the financial aid policy, which of course we're measured by the Department of Education or going by their regulations to kind of check the progression standard. So the probation for financial aid, that actually just would mean that you've appealed your financial aid status, meaning that you were on suspension, meaning that you were ineligible initially to receive financial aid, but you met the requirements, appealed your financial aid status, and based on that appeal, you were approved. Now, the probation does not mean that you're clean and clear. It does not necessarily mean that we're not going to continue to monitor your progress. That basically means that, hey, you regained your eligibility, but you're going to have to make sure that you're completing all of your courses. You're going to have to make sure you're bringing up your GPA. If you're within that time frame, or if you're allotted to go past that time frame, then you're going to have to complete every single course that you attempt. It's not a free ticket, if you will. This is just basically letting you know that, hey, you're on the line concerning your financial aid, and if you still want to utilize your financial aid to help you graduate, that you're going to have to meet these standards.
And probation, is that for like just one semester, or is it forever and ever, or do I have to apply every single semester after I go on probation?
The way I put it this way, the way it is supposed to work is that the probation continues as long as you are still not meeting the standard. If you fall below the standard, so let's give me an example. If we have a student that is a freshman student that's coming in that has not met the 60 hours or has not attempted the 60 hours, but has a 1.9 GPA, and let's say they earned that 1.9 GPA during their first semester, okay? Then in that case, if that student, well, I think I'm getting mixed up because if that student in that case would actually be under warning. So I'm jumping at that student will actually be under the financial aid warning until they meet that 2.0 GPA requirement and have attempted that 60 credit hours. But once they've attempted that 60 credit hours, if they fall below the 2.0 and they actually fall into the appeal and then they're approved, that probation will continue to make sure that they're being monitored. And if I recall correctly, it is standardly 2 semesters. Two semesters in order for us to kind of monitor their process. And then once they are showing they're maintaining that process, then they can be taken off of the probation.
Okay. And one last question. I know you talked about it, but how does course forgiveness work in conjunction with SAP and financial aid?
Well, for financial aid purposes, that for the academic forgiveness that's done through the registrar's office or through the college, we still count those courses as attempts. They're not. It's not necessarily that we would say, hey, we can exclude them from our calculation. We would still count those courses for attempts and for GPA purposes as well. So that's another reason as to why we may have one particular GPA listed in the financial aid office, and the registrar's office may have another calculation. And again, that's our calculation is strictly for financial aid purposes. This is not saying, okay, you have this GPA upon graduation or on your academic transcript. It's just for strictly financial aid purposes and measuring to make sure that you're completing the SAP process successfully.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Taylor, for that important information. I hope that the students that are listening, it really clarifies the questions for them. And if they have additional questions, your contact information was there for them to reach out to you and your staff.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we thank you for the opportunity for the platform to talk to students about this. I'm not sure how much this has been publicized or actually talked to them about, but this is something definitely important and will definitely affect their aid eligibility. So we thank you.
Yes, I think it's very important, and I think all students need to know.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.